tracker. Is he a chance or not?
Yeah, look, he's a chance. We've certainly designed a program for Christian and for Jess to be available to play. So clearly they didn't train today, but they'll do a little bit more tomorrow and also on Saturday. But that's been the plan the whole way through, is to get him to this point. Now he trained strongly today in rehab, and we're really confident he'll play this weekend.
So do you name them and see, or how do you approach it?
Yeah, look, we don't play till Sunday, so we'll name them. And obviously we've still got a couple of days in our preparation. So, but internally, and speaking to the players, we're confident that both will play.
Did they have a Sunday morning test, or?
No, they was trained normally on Saturday.
Is it a book? No, you're.
Do you bring him straight back into AFL footy? Is that sort of player, or does he have to run to VFL first?
Yeah, look, he was really strong at training today, and the plan's been to get him prepared to play AFL footy, similar to Tom McDonald last week. So he'll be available to play next week, and I guess that's a decision for next week, and seeing where the team's at and making sure he's still getting through all the training as required. But today he looked in terrific shape, and we're really confident that the high performance team have prepared him for AFL footy.
With Christian, is it a ball handling thing, or is it just the fact he's had sort of a week without any conditioning?
Yeah, we played on Tuesday, so it's really he's missed 6 or 7 days of conditioning. So it's just making sure we're getting enough load into him and preparing him as best we can for the game. He hasn't handled the ball yet, but he'll do that over the next couple of days and make sure the wound's nice and healed and ready to go.
Were you aware of how serious that could have been?
Yeah, look, we were. Obviously, we knew the state of it. Clearly, when you get an infected finger and it gets to that point, you need to do something pretty serious because it can become a really serious injury. So as a club, we took the best priority possible is to get it fixed as quick as we can and make sure that he's obviously misses a week, but he gets back ready to play footy.
How important is this week to consolidate after a good showing with the Bombs?
Yeah, look, it's really important. As a club, we got ourselves back on track last week in terms of the way we played, especially in the second half. We still think we've still a lot of improvement left in us in the way we go about our footy, but it was a huge step forward in terms of the way that we wanted to play. There was some signs in the week before, but I thought on the weekend in the second half especially, we started to play the way that we wanted to play.
Does the way Tom McDonald played first up, does that have any impact on the decision you might make with Jack?
As I said earlier, Tom McDonald was prepared by our high performance team to come in and play AFL footy. Jack's no different. He's had a program that's been mapped out for a long period of time now to come in and actually function and perform at AFL level. So, as I said, that'll be a decision for next week. But at this stage, we're really confident that Jack will be available next week.
Really turned around the former Etihad Stadium too, and you've won 4 of your last 5 there after not winning for a number of years. Do you feel it's a ground that sort of suits you now?
Yeah, it's funny that obviously it was a hoodoo a while ago, but now we're playing some pretty strong footy there, and I think that's part about building a strong footy team. That you can play on any oval anywhere, and that's what we've tried to do as a club, is to not really worry about where we play and who we play against. It's about how we perform and making sure we maximise becoming a really strong footy team.
The inconsistency from week to week has been a bit of an issue this season. How do you guard against that from happening?
Yeah, look, it's something that we continue to work on as a team. I think every side you've seen throughout the year that have had little periods where they've struggled in a quarter or struggled from week to week. So we're no different. We're trying to find consistency. We're trying to find our best footy, but we don't think we're too far away.
What changed last week in terms of capitalising on Max's dominance that you hadn't been able to do previous weeks?
Clearly our midfield group have done a lot of work together over the summer, and obviously went back to that last week. So the connection's a really important part. They work really hard at training with our coaches Benny Matthews and Justin Platt to formulate that connection, and they executed that plan very well last week. And I think they've seen the blueprint now moving forward as a group about what's required with each other, and we'll continue to work and make that a real strength in our game.
Have you seen morale change at all this week, Simon?
Morale's remained high the whole time. They've got an incredible amount of belief in each other about what they're capable of, but they know there's a level that they need to perform at, and obviously it's trying to maximise and get the team to function as best they can. But their morale hasn't shifted. Their trainings remain to a high level, and they're really trying to build into a good team.
Is it the knee or the ankle that's keeping Jesse Hogan, I suppose, from training today?
Yeah, it's ankle. So he rolled his ankle in the third quarter. So that's the bit that we're making sure we get right. He had a knock to the knee as well, but that's fine. So he's really confident that he'll do a little bit tomorrow, but also on Saturday, and be ready to go.
The first half of your game wasn't probably easy on the eye for a lot of people, and there's been a lot of talk this week about the state of the game. Are you worried about the look of the game at the moment?
Clearly there's been a lot of talk about, and negative talk about, the state of the game and what's going to happen. There's no question that we can always, as an industry, look to improve the game. I think that's the reality of it, that we should never stand still and just say the game is what it is. I think we look to improve it at any stage. So I think there's some levers within the game that we could potentially look at around prior opportunity and incorrect disposal are certainly things, and also interchange, if that's the way, if they want to open up the game more. But I think the negative talk is probably a bit overdone. I think the game is still in good shape. It's still a really contested brand of footy, but there are some small adjustments that can be made from an officiating perspective that might help congestion on the field.
As coaches, I mean, you guys as a collective are often blamed for the look of the game. Do you take that a bit personally?
Oh, look, I think it's, I think there's a whole range of things that you can look at from a game perspective. Strategy and structure hasn't changed a great deal over 10 years. What has changed is players are faster, they're quicker, they can cover more distance earlier. There's obviously increase in rotations. So there's things in the game that have changed, but in terms of the structural and strategy within the game, it hasn't changed a great deal.
There's been criticism of the skills as that's supposedly lower than they have been in the past. Do you think that's the case, or what's your thoughts on it?
Oh, look, I don't think it's changed dramatically. I think our players are incredibly skilled. The decision-making process is actually a lot quicker these days. There's more people, obviously, in a smaller amount of area, but the players are getting pressure quickly. So hence their skill level has to be a lot quicker in their decision-making. So I think the skills of the modern-day player are very good.
Saints, do you want to give us your scouting report? How do you get them?
Yeah, look, obviously they're having a difficult time, but at the same time, 2 weeks ago against the Giants, they were very, very good. So, they're a side that we know at their best pressure the opposition incredibly well. They're a good contested ball team, and if they keep doing that, eventually they'll connect better. So we know that we're preparing for their best. We know that what they can deliver, and that's what we're really focusing on this week.
Just Tim Smith and Cam Pedersen in pretty good form in the VFL. Are they a couple that are in the mix?
Yeah, they are. They're in really good VFL form. So, Tim Smith had an outstanding game last week and was very close to selection, and Cam's continued over the last couple of weeks. So they're two guys that, obviously putting their names up for selection.